I'm starting here. I only know one. Hey, what's going on, YouTube? This is Jesse Ricca. I'm back here with Singular Sound. And we're going to talk all about today how I've taken my BeatBuddy and Aeros and turned it into a bunch of great paying gigs. I've turned my duo sets into looping duo sets, allowing me to charge more per gig, and has changed the show. And it's honestly something that not a ton of people are doing right now. So if you're one of the few guys who does it, it really separates you from other acts. It makes it like, wow, those two people sound like a full band, which allows you to charge more, and it allows you to get more gigs. We're going to talk about how to build a looping set list today full of covers that people know, because that's a big part of it, right? Until you have that notoriety, you need to have the covers. So we're going to talk about that today. We're going to talk about how to build the loops. Like, we're not going to go too deep into that, because if you have this, and you probably already know some of the basic functions, but I'm going to show you some of my favorite loop tunes, how I built them, and how I keep the show moving. The last thing we're going to talk about too is we're also going to talk about the gear that I'm using, because it's not just the BeatBuddy and Aeros I'm using. I'm also using a couple extra pedals to help make the show move along quicker. I don't actually use a bass. I use a bass pedal, and we're going to talk about some of the other pedals that I use and some ways I actually mic my amplifier, and because the more we isolate things, the better it can sound out front. So we're going to talk about a lot of those things today. Let's get into it. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the gear I'm using here. I'm not just using the BeatBuddy and Aeros to get these sounds. I have a full pedal board here. I have an octave pedal, and then of course I have an amplifier, but I've also mic'd the amplifier. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I've isolated the guitar sound, right? Like the solo guitar sound, the loop, which would be like a bass line, maybe some chords, maybe I do another extension on those chords, or a little rhythmic line, and then I have the drums isolated as well, right? So what I do is I first have my pedal board going into my amp directly, and what that does is now what's coming out of the amp is my guitar tone that I would have like at any other gig if I wasn't looping, right? It's a really great guitar tone. I have a full board here with I got a tuner, a wah, 2 overdrives, delay, reverb, chorus. I got a compressor. I have a boost pedal. I got a real full pro board down there. But what this does is it now separates it. It's only coming out of the amp, right? Once I have that, I've run another 1/4 inch out of the back of the amp, out of the out, right? And I run that directly into my bass pedal, my octave pedal. This is actually the pitchfork, but it's an octave pedal. And I run out that octave pedal into the Aeros. Now, what that does is when I run it out the back of the amp, it's not going to get all the crazy effects I have down here. So it's not going to get the delay. It's not going to get all the cool effects I have on this board, which is really what you want, especially for when you go to record a bass line. When you put pedals and stuff, if you put a drive through it or something, it gets really muddy with an octave pedal. So you want a clean signal, and it'll give you a really thick, nice bass tone. And the other thing is, it doesn't really add the chorus or anything to the chords as well. But, that's something I think it's worth having just to get that super clean bass tone. And then we lay down some nice chords. And then if you want to layer them more, you would have to play them with the textures you like. But that's cool. You just add the extensions. It adds more to the show. So I have my loop. It's super clean. And what's great about the Aeros is you can actually EQ the loop in the Aeros. So like the bass line came out a little too hot, you can bring it down, bring it up, same thing with the chords. Now, so I have my 2 inputs there. I have my guitar amp, which is mic'd here. I'm using a Sennheiser. Then I have the out coming from the back into my bass pedal, into the Aeros. Now the Aeros is an input as well. And then the last input I have, so we have three inputs total, is the BeatBuddy. And the BeatBuddy you just plug right in. And what's really cool about this is like when you get some nice gigs and you have a good soundboard, maybe you have a sound guy, or even if you're doing your own sound, you can now isolate all 3 of these things and get them dialed in, getting them sounding really good. There's a big difference between having one channel and having 3 isolated channels. This way, if like, hey, the drums, the hi-hat, it's too tinny in the guitar, but you love the guitar tone. If you have one channel, nothing you can do about that. You're going to have to give or take on one of them. When I have all 3 isolated, there's no give and take. We can EQ each individual channel, and that has made it a huge difference. It's made a huge difference as far as like getting a really good sound and doing it live. And what's great is the BeatBuddy has excellent drums on it. It really sounds like you could tell those were real samples, that it's a real drum. So it's really nice to dial that in and have the sound guy get those drums really cooking with the bass line super clean. And then I have my rock guitar or my crazy delays and stuff over top of it. So that's pretty much all the gear that I use and the way I go about it. And I know it seems like, dude, this is like way too much. I'm not the guitar nerd with all the tech stuff. I know how to play well, but as far as the tech stuff goes, I'm not super great at it. And if I can do it, I know you can do it. It's just a couple extra cables and a little bit of time, and I know you can do it. All right, guys, so we're going to talk about how I get the bass tone from my loops here. Like I mentioned previously, we are going from our pedal board into the amp, but we're bypassing all these pedals and going out of the back of the amp, getting a clean signal going directly into our bass pedal here that goes into our Aeros. So this way we're getting just a clean tone right into the bass pedal, straight into the Aeros. So this way we don't have any grit or anything else going on with that bass line, getting a nice thick tone. So we're going to do September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. And I'm gonna it's a great tune to add to your set. It's fun, it's a dance tune, everyone knows it. So think about adding that one to your set list when you're building your loop sets. Let's give it a listen. At first, you're going to hear the bass along with my guitar, right? But then you're going to hear the guitar drop out, and you just hear the bass once we've looped it because we still have a signal going. So let's check it out. So now we have just a nice clean bass line, right? And that's without my guitar amp there. We got a nice clean tone. I'm gonna layer in some chords now and they're gonna be nice and clean too because we have the direct signal. Now we have our chords on our bass line, and they're both super clean and independent of the tone I have coming out of my amp. So it looks like I can have like a distorted sound over here. Check it out. Right? Had toned down a little bit there. But as you hear, my guitar tone and my loop tone, totally independent, right? So this way I can have 2 different things going on all at once. Sorry, turning off some of my pedals over here, right? And what that allows is, again, to just have more control over the total sound. I can EQ the amp independently, EQ the Aeros independently, and the BeatBuddy. And the one function I want to go over with the BeatBuddy is this one right here. With the Aeros is this one right here. Right, say I have I laid down the bass line too hot or the chords are too hot. I can now, with this wheel over here, adjust the actual volume of each thing that I loop. This is a great function, and I use it all the time because sometimes you're in situations and it didn't sound like it recorded that hot, or your dynamics were just a little off, and you can adjust it right here. So this is a super important function that I use quite a bit. But yeah, that's pretty much how I loop the whole thing. It's just using those basic concepts and keeping it real clean. And then I use the distorted guitar whenever I want, you know? So now I'm going to talk about how I select the beats for each loop that we're going to make. For me, the first thing, of course, you have to go down the musical things first. What time signature is the song? If we're playing pop music, it's almost always 4/4. So 4/4. On rare occasion, maybe we'll find a 3/4 tune or a 6/8 tune. Anyway, you cut it. But the next thing that's super important is, are the 8th notes or 16th notes swung? Right? Is this a swung? Is this like a shuffle? Da-dun, da-dun, da-dun. Or is it straight? Dun, 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 dun. So that's super important. Those are the two most important parts about picking the beat, right? After that, it's like, up to you what you like best. What I do, because I'm playing pop tunes and I'm really just covering songs, I always go simple. I want simple. So most of the time I've established I'm in 4/4 and I want straight quarter notes, straight 8th notes and straight 16th notes. So then I think to myself, all right, do I want a 16th note beat or do I want an 8th note beat? And again, that's after I've, figured out if this is a swung tune or a straight tune. So we're going to play a straight tune with a 16th note beat. This is a Montel Jordan's This Is How We Do It loop. By the way, another great tune to add to your set. People love it. If you got a good singer, they can really go out there and do her thing. I happen to work with a really good singer, and she kills this one, and people have you get nothing but compliments when you hear about it. So, and I'm going to show you how you can use just some of those basic features in the Aeros to like put in little fills, pull things in and out. So let's go ahead and listen to the loop. I already have it all queued up, so I'm just going to get it started here. So I'm going to go ahead and switch over to that mode that I showed you previously. Here it is, where we can EQ things. So typically what I'll do, I'll get the loop going and she'll come in. Excuse my vocals, but you're going to hear them. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is how we do it. Yeah, you can hear the song. And she's singing the hooks right here. This is how we do it. Na, 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 right? And then what I do to add some dynamics to this song, because the loop is, the Aeros is doing all the work in this tune. So then I drop it out. And she's singing the very first verse. It's Friday night, and I feel all right. Go ahead and listen to the tune. You'll hear where this stuff gets pulled out. And just like a rap tune, I bring stuff in and out. Like if you listen to a lot of rap songs, they're just loops where they pull things in and out. It's like we're missing parts here. It's just the beat. Maybe it's just the bass line. Maybe the chords aren't there, right? So I'm letting it build. Maybe I'm layering in some chords of my guitar here, right? And when the chorus comes along, right, I do the same thing. I have here it comes, 2, 3, 4, and let me hear the party say, kind of buzzed, and it's all because, right? As you can tell, I'm not the singer, but that's what I do, and that's how I pick my beats. And this is the way you can use, that BeatBuddy and to your advantage, man. It has those fills; they sound great. I've seen in the comments and on some different videos that people weren't too psyched about some of the software we're using, and that it can be a little bit challenging. For me, I mean, dude, I'm playing these gigs to make some money. I want to make it easy for myself. I want to go in there and do the gig, feel confident. I use all the pre-made beats that BeatBuddy has because they're all recorded at such a high quality. They're so good. So if my suggestion is pick simple beats and use tunes that can go with that simple beat. Don't use that super syncopated bass drum, right? You want bass drums that are just 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? Did you hear the bass drum there? Real simple. I'm gonna go ahead and pull it out just so you can hear it. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? So the bass line, the bass drum pattern there. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Real simple. And I like it that way because this way when I'm going to the gigs, I'm not too worried about. That's not going to get in the way of anything you play. So if you're new to the BeatBuddy and you're like, man, I want some simple beats I can just go ahead and play with. If you go into the pop section, this is the pop 16th note beat, 1 of 2. And it also does have another beat in there too. If you want to hold down the BeatBuddy pedal, get to the next part. Slightly different, right? We got like a little bit of a broken up 16th note pattern going on the hi-hats. Yep. And this is cool for like a breakdown. Like you want to do something like that. Bring it all back. And then we got our master stop over here on the right. So that's how I pick my beats. And if you're new to this, I really suggest use the beats they have on there, man. They have some great simple beats. And if you want to just get in there, make the gig sound good, and get paid and do what you got to do, remember, keep it simple. Hey guys, I hope you've been enjoying the video. All the cool stuff we broke down about the way I set up the chain of the signal here, everything we've gone over, how to pick the beats, how to get the clean bass line. If you are interested in getting one of these pedals, I wanted to let you know about the affiliate program Singular Sound has running right now. Use the promo code JR10, that's JR10, and get 10% off of any Singular Sound pedal. It's a great way to save a little bit of money and give a little kickback here to your boy for giving out his secrets, you know? Giving out the sauce here. I need a little something, I'm gonna wet my beak here a little bit. So I would really appreciate it if you use the promo code, man. If you're gonna buy one, you might as well get the discount, and you're helping out a fellow musician. All right, guys, have a good time, man. Have fun with this, and dude, start living that loop life, man.